Welcome to the First and Inches podcast, where every play counts and every take hits hard. Right. David is repping the dynasty that is the Kansas City Chiefs. George bleeds black and gold for Steeler Nation, and AP is still waiting on the Vikings to show up in February. We're breaking down the biggest stories in football, baseball, and anything in between. We're calling it like we see it, and no fan base is safe. Touchdown! This is the First and Inches podcast.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the First and Inches podcast. I'm Jorge.
Hooks.
AP, what up? What up?
What's up, guys? Man, a lot has gone on this week. Playoffs are almost set in the NFL. Some things don't change or haven't changed for your teams. They're still out, but it feels good to be in the hunt. So what's going on, guys? How are you?
Good, dude. Good. Getting through the holidays. Going to start off, get ready to start off 2026 with a bang. Don't know what everybody's got plans for New Year's, but whatever it is, be safe. If you're at a safe spot, be reckless then, as long as you're not driving around.
I don't think he necessarily means that, but
oh yeah.
So we're just going to get the Chiefs out of the way, even though that's our favorite word on this podcast. So
Cheese.
So the salary cap issues getting ready to hit. You know, we're going to see how that works. You know, I think Juwan Taylor's gone, Trey Smith, Mahomes, probably Jones are all going to have to restructure contracts. But you know, if they have the healthy year next year, they were good until they weren't. Offensive line get tore up, defensive backfield got tore up. I guess the question is Kelsey coming back? Let's all predict yes or no. Kelsey coming back?
No.
I say no.
I say yes. Yes.
It seems like he's been checked out half the season.
No, he was like the number 3 tight end.
How many mental errors has he had?
So anyway, the saving grace, and then we can get off the Chiefs for a little bit, is they're probably going to get a top 10 pick. I don't think that they can lose to the Raiders this weekend, because I think the Raiders are going to do everything they can to not win. But we're going to get a top 10 around that pick. We haven't had one of those since Mahomes.
So I'm not much into the college football scene. I can't really, look at like the class that's available. I know the quarterback class is kind of weak this year, but that's nothing they would be drafting for. Let me ask you this. How the Chiefs stand today, is this something that they trade down? Because the top 10 pick is pretty valuable. Did they trade that pick down for more draft collateral?
No, I think if you made me bet, I think they take the running back from Notre Dame, Love. That's they need a running back. They're definitely hurting there.
At pick number 10?
At number 10.
That's the Madonna clip that everybody has to the background of him making that run at the 2-yard line, right? Wherever he broke 8 tackles.
Yeah.
On Prayer or whatever song that is. Oh yeah. Jeremiah Love.
To me, that makes no sense. You don't draft a running back in the top 10 in the NFL anymore. This is 2026. Like, you just plug in a running back. You need to have a running game, and that goes beyond just the running back. Like, I think you can just plug anybody in, and that same running back is going to probably be available in the second round.
Or do you do that with Mahomes obviously regressing to that of Russell Wilson, following the same career arc?
No, listen, I think that you shore up that line, even if your backup needs to be a top round pick, because a lot of people don't realize the big drop off there is from your starting guard or whatever, your starting offensive lineman to your backup is ridiculous. That's the reason why the Chiefs are in this problem, in this situation, because of the drop off. You have somebody go out in injury, and whoever you plug in is just not going to be good enough. And that happens to every team. It's crazy to me to see that big drop off to be there for a quarterback as well. What's his name? Oladokan, right? He can't even make the pass in front of the receiver in the end zone. I'm thinking the field has not changed since you started playing in high school. It's 100 yards. The end zone is 10 yards deep. It's still the same dimensions. How are you not able to make that pass as a backup quarterback in the NFL? Like, I don't get it. It shouldn't be something that only the starting quarterback can do.
Well, the Vikings have managed 2 guys that can't do that. So I could speak from absolute position of authority in that.
Yeah, I don't think the Chiefs need to take a running back in the first round at all.
And nothing that Veach has done makes me think that that's going to happen. I'm just trying to throw something out there that if it sticks, I look good. But I'll tell you, Oladokin was not ever meant to see the field. Like, you get to your third quarterback, it's season's over anyway. And
I agree.
They signed him and have had him for the last 3 or 4 years to run the offense for the scout team whenever there's a mobile quarterback. And so when you've got somebody with wheels, they want to be able to practice against it. And so he should have never seen the field.
Yeah, but come on, man. If you play for the Dodgers and you're a backup, right? You're riding the bench and they put you in at second base when the game doesn't matter. Does that mean that because you're not the starting second baseman, you're going to let balls go through your leg? No, you're going to feel the ground ball because you've done it your whole life, and you're going to throw it first. Oladokin should be able to make a freaking pass he's made his whole career.
Guys, I totally agree with you, but look what the Vikings have done with 2 guys, a top 10 pick and an undrafted free agent that they tried to market that he was the next Brock Purdy. Both those fucking guys have managed to motherfuck Justin Jefferson in a way that he might not get 1,000 yards this season. So you're right, Jorge. You're right. But I don't think it should be – I don't think it's something that's just specific to like Oladokin, who is a 28-year-old rookie, or I don't know his story. I looked him up. He's 28, but only been in the league a couple of years. Maybe he's been on the practice squad, not quite sure. Don't know his history. But you guys are bashing on him. For fuck's sakes, I would have taken him. I would take him for the Vikings right now. And that, whenever we're ready to segue, I can go into.
Yeah, let's talk about, before we get into talking about the Vikings, I think there's potentially 8 head coaching positions going to be open after the season, with the Raiders, the Cardinals, the Dolphins, the Falcons, the Browns, possibly Tampa, possibly the Giants, the Titans. So at least 6. So go ahead. Let's talk about your Vikings.
Well, I don't want to spend terrible much about it because we seem like we do, but let me just paint this picture, because talk about head coaching positions that are open, that segues to their top defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, best in the league. There's going to be some coaching open vacancies. He's got a whole thing with the league that's still unresolved from his head coaching days with the Dolphins and some other things around that timeline. But let me just tell you, going back to inadequate offense, listen to the defensive rankings. I just picked 2 stats to paint a picture for for you guys that are listening. There's 2 defensive statistics that I like: DVOA, which is defensive value of average, right? And there's also defensive EPA. The 3 years that Flores has had coach, they went from 11. This is defensive DVOA. They went 11th, they went 2nd, and they're 6th today. And that's with quite a few injuries. Their defensive EPA, they went 20th, 3rd, and 4th. That is an elite style defense. If you have average offensive team, a quarterback like Oladokin that can throw the ball to the best wide receiver in football, arguably a top 5 wide receiver all time, the Vikings are not only a playoff team, but I'm going to tell you guys, they're a Super Bowl contender. Listen to these offensive rankings just this year alone. 9th in the offensive version of DVOA and 28th in offensive EPA. That is historically bad offense, and that would be the worst all time had it not been for their savior, Carson Wentz. So going back to Hooks' segue into head coach vacancies, it is the most imperative thing for the Vikings, more so as equally as important it is to find a quarterback, is that they retain Brian Flores as their defensive head coordinator. Pay the man.
Well, we know he wants to be a head coach, though, but we also know he won't be the Dolphins head coach. So it's maybe leaves 5 teams that he could be a head coach for.
But if you're a franchise, do you take that on, knowing that there's an open dispute right now, litigation between him and the league?
I wouldn't.
Wow.
Did you say that Tampa Bay might have a need for a new head coach on your list?
They're getting ready to lose. They're getting ready to. They're going to lose. Okay, so if they beat Carolina and the Falcons beat the Saints, Carolina still gets in. So, like, I mean, they haven't had a winning record, or more than one game above a winning record, since he became the head coach.
That NFC South has always been a mess. It seems like every year someone gets in the playoffs. They're 5-12. 6-11. What the hell ever. Okay.
Well, why don't we add Tomlin to that list? Because I think
way.
if listen, I know in Pittsburgh we don't change head coaches, okay? I get it. We had like 3 head coaches in 172 years, whatever. But come on, you got to are you going to tell me that we're going to continue with this? Lost in the first round of the playoffs 2024, lost in the first round 2023, no playoffs in 22. Lost in the first round in 21, lost in the first round in 2020, no playoffs, lost in the first round 2017. It was 2016 before we won a freaking playoff game. And we're not the Cowboys. We don't just do that. They're about to finish the season at what, if we're lucky, 9-8.
No, they could be 10-7.
10-7. It's just not good enough. And this team is not going to beat anybody in the playoffs. Do you agree with that?
I think the playoffs are totally up for grabs this year.
You keep saying that. But I know you agree that this team is not built to beat anybody. Number one, you're going to have to score points, and they are having trouble doing that, right? It's just, I don't know. I think that we need to quit recycling and blaming injuries, and we know that we don't have a quarterback, and we're going in 5 years without a real quarterback. It's time. It's time for Tomlin to figure it out, get out of town, and let somebody else take over. That's my opinion as a lifelong Steelers fan.
I agree with that. With the caveat is, if they make the NFC Championship AFC Championship like I predicted that they would do, then I retain them. Otherwise, if they don't get it that far, no, not a chance.
Listen, if he wins the Super Bowl, like put it in your back pocket and head on down the road. Go find another job somewhere else.
So they probably have the worst wide receivers of all time playing out on the field with DK Metcalf being out. They're only a 3.5-point underdog at home, and if they win, they're in. Like, if I'd have told you that was going to happen, you'd have been like, nah.
How many catches did wide receivers have last week against the Cleveland Browns?
But I think
because I can count it with one hand.
I think it was a little bit of that. Rodgers did not want to get sacked by Garrett.
Yeah,
and just anytime he saw him in this vision was like, I'm throwing it. I don't care where.
That was pretty funny though, because the whole place was ready for that to happen, and obviously Rodgers said, I want no part of that. So it was pretty funny that they didn't let that happen.
So what's going on with DK?
Listen, I mean, obviously we can see that on the field, he is the most important weapon when it comes to our passing game. Could he have done something to stay on the field? Should he had thought about that? I know Heath knows that he's the best player on the field, but he wasn't thinking that when he's playing, handsy with a little fan on the stands. There's 2 sides to this argument, right? There's the people that say DK should not be interacting with the fan and should not be touching him or even talking to them, blah, blah, blah. You're in a hostile environment. Everybody's yelling at you. They're just going to try to get you off your game. And then there's the people that say, well, fans should not be allowed to do that. Say this, say that, say whatever they want to a player, unless it's LeBron. I think we need to all let LeBron know that he's just a flopping piece of crap. But other than LeBron, fans should not be just yelling whatever at players. With that said, now we have this he said, she said thing, right? Because the fan says one thing, oh, this is what I was saying. And DK seemed to have made up some crap about what was being said. So I'm of the opinion that, I don't know, it's somewhere in the middle. Fans should not be allowed to just say whatever the hell they want to a player, right? I get it, you're trying to get them off their game. And then also the player should know better. Like, why is he even coming to talk to the fan in the first place? Then we get to the point of, let me hear what you guys think. And then we'll talk about the point of the suspension, because that's another whole deal.
Well, so I'm going to take the position of, one, they have the resources to get the fan out, right? So if he said what he said, don't know, doesn't sound like it is, there's not been proven, he could still tell security or anybody on that team, hey, this guy's heckling me. He's saying awful, awful, awful things. It's a detriment, and get him out, and they could take care of that. They got to have some self-control. That said, if the guy said it, which again, that's not been proven. Now, I don't want to take in, I have never heckled a player, much less called him names or done anything. In fact, hat tip, if he's listening, Raul Ibanez, he threw me an absolute seed of a ball when I was giving him total props that he should be the starting right fielder for the Seattle Mariners back in the day, 1997. Now, I'm saying, even if he did, that doesn't warrant him to go over there and beat the guy's ass and take a punch at him. That's crazy. That's insanity. And I mean, and look what has happened when something was misconstrued, right? At Malice of the Palace, they went into the stands. Ron Artest, and what was the guy's name? Stephen Miller, or there was another guy with him.
Steven Johnson.
And I don't remember the
Steve
details.
Jackson.
John Jackson.
Stephen Jackson. I don't remember the details. I just know it was the wrong guy that got attacked, right? And that turned into a complete melee. People got hurt, and it was a complete eyesore for everybody. So even if he did, it's easy for me to say, I'm not being called the name, but to go over there and take a swing at the guy is insanity. Same thing, similar deal happened with that guy, Anthony Rondon, who is actually financially brilliant, but that's within the store. What do you think, Hooks?
Okay, so I'm really glad that the Steelers said we're not going to void your guaranteed money. I'm really upset that we have a repeat offender that has gotten to him twice on the sidelines, because the same thing happened in Seattle. It was the same Lions fan. His family has said that he has been after him, calling him, instead of calling him by a DK, which he prefers to be called by, just like we call you AP, he's calling him DeKalen. And you can't, it should have been 2 games. It should have been 1 game suspension. It already hurt him. And then it would be great to have DK back on the field today for this Sunday's game.
Okay, so you're in the mindset that 1 game should have been enough, 2 games maybe borderline too much. And what do you think, AP? Do you think he should have been suspended for like the playoffs too?
Listen, if they do an investigation, which I know they cannot do immediately, but if an investigation is done and they found that he was strictly calling him by his full name, then 2 games and into the playoffs.
Okay. Now,
so physical assault.
Hey, just clip this. I have on multiple occasions, I've never said anything bad to him. I've only pointed out the bad things that the players are doing, and it's a lot of fun. But at no point am I going to take my butt down to the sidelines and let him sit there and yell at me in my face. I'm just going to laugh at him from 9 rows up.
How the hell does that even – there's layers of security. How the hell does anybody let him wander over there to the stands and say that? Moreover, if he's a repeat offender, which I wasn't aware of that, but if he's a repeat offender and DK first hears him and sees him, why don't they throw him out of really hurt the fan so he's not able to come back? Suspend him indefinitely. Just like I'm talking about DK Metcalf, but suspend this fan the entire, no NFL stadiums is allowed.
So I did have one really good story that we can talk about. It was at a game at Louisiana Lafayette, and Oklahoma State was playing. It was back in 2011. We sat on the 50-yard line, front row, behind Louisiana Lafayette's bench, and I got gum thrown at me, and I got yelled at as they went out ahead at halftime, leading in the game. And it was so much fun sitting back there in the second half and watching the OSU just roll up on them. So there you go.
Well, let's just so we got Hooks and I's take. Jorge, that's your team. What do you think? Beyond trying to remove bias.
I think I don't have enough information, because if in fact this guy is out there trying to instigate and all that, I mean, I still don't think the DK should engage and go out there and do whatever he did. Like you said, he can call security, and if he thinks it's bad enough, hey, get this guy out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he paid for that ticket where he would be close enough to get on DK's, but some fans need to be held accountable. I've seen some crazy stuff happen, especially, like in New York. These fans, Philadelphia, I mean, they're ruthless sometimes, right?
Boston.
And and it goes beyond just like what you should be able to do to any human, much less a player who has done nothing to you except maybe beat your team. But fans need to be held accountable. I think there need to be some rules and maybe some processes in place to ensure that this doesn't happen, because just because you pay for a ticket doesn't mean that you get to say whatever you want to players. And I sat close enough in many games, basketball and baseball and football, and it never crossed my mind to disrespect the player to their face, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just to get them off their game. Like, I even felt bad last year I was at the Denver Oklahoma City game in Denver, and you know how when they try to distract somebody from shooting the free throw, well, I was distracting the Denver players, and the whole section was mad at me. So I'm making everybody mad by simply doing what they were about to do the next half to all of the Thunder players. So I don't know. I don't know what some people get from being disrespectful to players and doing what they do. Some of them deserve to be punched but the players should know better. DK should know better than to even go over there and get in this argument face to face or that close to that guy for any reason. So whatever, man. I think 2 games, it is what it is. We're probably going to lose. It's going to cost us the game. It's going to cost us the playoff because he's not there. Last week, the Steelers receivers were trash. And this week, I don't see anything going to be different than that. If he was suspended for the whole playoffs, I understand it. If he was suspended next season for like 4 more games, I would understand that as well.
I do want to say that you make a good point about bringing up. There was a recent example I just thought about, Ketel Marte for the Diamondbacks. If you remember, he handled it, and he handled it well. I'd like to say that's how I handle it. I'm a man. I'm not saying I wouldn't have done what DK had done. But Ketel Marte, it was a lot worse. They were making fun of his mother, which was also proven. And I believe they were calling her names, very vulgar names. And she had since, she had passed away earlier. He actually hit him emotionally, and he had actually told the security and everyone else about, or whomever they report to, they had the fan banned from baseball. And it was proven that he said all this. So I feel like I would have more restraint and self-control. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I just feel like I would. And I feel like to avoid this from happening in the future and to utilize their resources, it would be best for these players in the league to address it by saying, hey, we have layers, we have security and perimeter, because that could have created a whole tidal wave of things. What happens if he's got his boys with him and, and then next thing you know, it's the malice in the palace or whatever. So that's my take.
All right. So what about the Chiefs are going to be moving over to Kansas in 2030?
Wait a minute. They weren't in Kansas already?
Clip it.
Most people didn't even realize that.
Yeah. Weird. So what about it?
Okay. So I lived in Kansas City for 4 years in Jackson County and KC-Mo, home of the Chiefs right now. And Jackson County was just, they don't want to give any money for the team to build a stadium. And the whole point of they don't want to pay any money for them to build the stadium is then they're like, well, then the owner should pay for it. And it's like, well, the other city on the other side of the state line will pay for it. Also, Kansas City, Kansas will pay for it. Why would you not move across state lines? Now, the difference is that the Royals, I don't know that the Kansas City side is willing to pay it, but there's 3 or 4 expansion teams that want a baseball team, right? And those Royals end up going to play in Orlando. There's going to be a lot of pissed off people in Kansas City.
Why everybody keeps saying Orlando? The Dreamers really should not. They're not going to build a fan base based on tourism. It's ridiculous. I get it, man. It's all about money. As the owner of a franchise, I don't care how much money I have. I don't want to give all my money to building the stadium if I can subsidize it or have other resources to help do it, right? The community wants it. They'll pay an extra tax in order for the city to chip in. So why not? I just don't get why Missouri, Jackson County, whatever, is so stubborn about it. Are they really willing to lose these teams?
Well, no. Now that they're losing the Chiefs, they're not. They want the team back now. Yeah. And keep in mind, just the initial study I've done is KC-Mo, Jackson County, is going to lose about $30 million in income taxes or sales tax, which is in between 8 and 9% of their annual income.
Wow! So
that's not good when you're losing 8 to 9% of your annual income.
What do you think the players? How do they feel about this?
Okay, they don't care. I mean,
they don't care.
A lot of them live on the Kansas side. Yeah, and have to pay the Missouri tax. I mean, there's a lot of nice places. I know Mahomes lives over in the Kansas side. Kelsey built up in North KC. So, but I mean, like it's 6 of one, half a dozen other.
It's about 1 to 2% tax difference in state when you're making $20 million a year. It's a big chunk of money.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying the fact that Jackson County is now scrambling to try to figure something out. But I don't think that there's enough love in Kansas City. I don't think there's enough love for the Royals baseball that will get passed. But it would be nice to get a downtown stadium for them in Kansas City.
If they were to move to Kansas, are they going to build the same thing they have now with Arrowhead and the other stadium together?
No.
I mean, are the days of because Atlanta did it where they built the whole baseball stadium, the compound, what do they call it, in Atlanta, away from the city, right? And it's a whole entertainment center. Arlington did it with now putting Globe Life and AT&T Stadium in this big old entertainment, center. You have in Philadelphia where all the three arenas are together in one spot. I mean, they need to make sure they keep, even if they do move to Kansas, they need to make sure they keep the ability for the tradition of the tailgating and the gathering and all that they do in Missouri now, because that's one of the best parts of going to a Kansas City Chiefs game, in my opinion.
But if you give me a choice of going to Arrowhead to watch a football game in December or going to AT&T Stadium in Arlington in December, I know which one my old frail body is going to choose.
So last week, we sat on the 50-yard line. We upgraded to tickets on the 50-yard line. And when we were exiting the special club exit that you and I went through, remember, David? Melody was like, well, this is nice. I didn't have to deal with any crowds. Like, I know.
This is nice. All right. So anything else on that, Adam?
No, it was an interesting take. I think it's very nuanced with what's going on. Read a whole bunch of different other things, what it had to do in that regard. To be how it all, I'd love to see how it's all going to render out.
Yeah. So what about, real quick, let's cover baseball 5 minutes, because, man, Anthony Rendon is a free agent now. We're talking about, like, maybe he'll get another 10-year deal.
Whoever, that's going to be the chump of the year, whoever decides to sign that guy, if he decides that he wants to keep playing. Chump of the century.
Awful deal. That, he was just a bad guy anyway. He took a swipe at a fan, if you guys remember, back when he was with the Angels. But also, a similar deal with the Nationals did that with Strasburg, but Strasburg won in the World Series. Anthony Rendon's not doing anything for them, for the Angels. I mean, for that whole deal.
If Rendon gets a contract, if he decides to keep playing and he goes somewhere, I'm going to buy season tickets to that team, and I'm going to heckle the hell out of him for the entire season. The next guy's going to get swung at by him is going to be me. Trust me.
So, I mean, what's going on? What's going on? No Tucker, no Bregman, no Bichette, no Bellinger getting signed yet.
My guess is that it's all on Kyle Tucker's deal, because I think they're going to tear down from there. I still think he's going to get his 10-year deal. I personally, I don't have a problem with Scott Boras. I know a lot of people hate the guy. Your Dodgers don't want to deal with him, but from the perspective of a base, hell, I would love if Scott Boras represented me. I'd get the max deal. He would package it up. Maybe I'm paying, I don't know what the standard rate is. What is it, Jorge? What is it? 5% is what you pay an agent, something like that. So
somewhere around 3 or 4.
I'd pay 5% to Scott Boras because he's getting you a bigger, longer deal. It seems like he rarely misses, and I do feel like it's all predicated on how Kyle Tucker plays out and wherever he lands. And I think just like every offseason, it seems like it's that one or two player that's supposed to set the market, and I feel like it'll all tear down from there.
What is your prediction about where Tucker or Bregman end up?
Hooks, you want to take it?
Go ahead, Adam.
So, okay, Kyle Tucker, I mean, I've been saying this. I think it's going to be a surprise team. I know there's a lot of, going back and forth, the same heavy hitters. My prediction, the Toronto Blue Jays. That's what I think. I think it's going to be, that is the surprise deal that sets everything, that cascades everything else. With Bregman, there's a lot of different teams that I could see him going to. I think for me, I can't quite say unless the Blue Jays sign Bregman at that 10-year deal. Probably, I do think it's going to come off that 400 contract, $400 million. I think it's going to be in the high threes this time.
So, I think Tucker could help the Blue Jays, but Bo Bichette is leaving. What team is in the hunt for a World Series that needs a shortstop right now?
Tigers.
Okay.
If the Tigers aren't going to trade, trading Tarek Skubal, then 100%. Bregman makes the right decision. I mean, this is a great choice.
Okay, here's the deal. So
not Bregman, sorry, Bo Bichette. Yeah.
And Baez, keeps being an outfielder?
I mean, you have to put him somewhere with that dumbass contract. But yeah, center field. He's still got speed. He's got a hell of an arm.
I see. So this is my prediction. I see Bichette signing one of the deals like Bregman did last year with the Dodgers, play second base for him. He's not a good defensive shortstop. He is getting hurt last year, crushed him. He's got to have 1 year of really good production, and then he can go back out and get a much better contract than what he's going to get this year.
I see what you're saying, but the difference between Bo Bichette and Bregman was elite when he was doing the trash can thing, but Bichette has been elite the entire time as a hitter. And I think Bichette is young enough that I would still be able to put him at shortstop. But I see what you're saying. You make a good point, but I think Bichette gets a full deal.
Clip it. Clip it.
I would argue that I would take Bichette.
Where do you even put Bichette in that lineup?
Second base.
He's gonna bat seventh. What the hell?
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's ridiculous.
So, I know Adam's got to go. Adam's got to go finish up work on New Year's Eve.
Who works on New Year's Eve?
I got people waiting on me.
Ridiculous.
I got tables to serve.
You sound like a Viking just dipping out. Worry about next season. All right, man.
Hey, by the way, I just want to say something real quick before we go. My prediction was 11 wins, right? On the Vikings, wasn't it? So
Yep.
They very well could come up with 10 wins. That goes back to their elite defensive team. They just need a quarterback. Here's a one for everybody listening. I want to thank, I know Hooks is real big on him. Malik Willis. Hat tip to my boy Les Cady that called out Malik Willis. And then the next thing you know, we've seen he put it out in the ether and it's all coming out there. And last night I read Lamar Jackson as a potential landing quarterback. Of course, my son would be that'd be crazy because that's his favorite player. So it'd be, I'm telling you, I'm excited about the offseason, boys. I'm excited about the offseason.
You sound like a Cowboy fan, too.
As a Reds fan, hey, what can I say? As a Reds fan and Vikings fan, I live for the offseason because it's full of potential until the season actually starts and those fuckers start playing and then depression hits.
Hey, before you go, 2 important games this weekend. We got Bucks and Carolina, and we got the Steelers and the Ravens. Who do you take on those 2 games?
Steelers and Bucks and Carolina. You said Carolina.
Yeah.
Next call, there's going to be a big sign that comes across and it says something. Just wait. So I'm not gonna pick that game, but I'll say I want Tampa to win, just because I really, as much as I have disliked Mayfield in the past, I think he needs one more shot.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going with the Bucks and the Ravens because the Steelers suck.
Nope.
Good show, guys. We're gonna be talking next week and see how wrong we are about everything we talk about. Thanks to all our listeners for engaging with us.
Yeah,
you just can't wait for that meme, can you? But until then, I just find us on your favorite podcast app. Find us on YouTube. Find us on Instagram. Find us on TikTok. Find us wherever you can. Interact with us. If you have a question that we need to talk about during one of our shows, just let us know and we'll bring it up. And if your question is good enough, maybe we'll bring you on the show. All right. Until next week, any last thoughts?
Nope.
Go Steelers.
Shut up. Let's go Ravens. Have a good day, guys.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.